nabo badduke mumubanja ki nange Honorable Semujju mumubanja ki yagula emmere wammwe mumubanja ki mwamutuma ki era mwabasoga mwamubereka ki nange basingibwa baŋŋamba nti abampa amagezi abanjagala baŋŋamba Salaam dduka nzirukirewo namwe bwe muŋŋamba munaguddemu akatengo naguddemu akatengo nga kansangawa okunyooma okwo kulina ebintu bingi etubijjukiza okusookera ddala President Museveni bwe yatandika olutalo ku gavumenti ezaaliwo zawa nnyina ekitiibwa maama wa President Museveni kokundeka zaamuwa ekitiibwa tezamulumba tezamukolako bulabe era wano wenneebaliza ne famire ey'omugenzi Boniface Byanyima nti yamukuuma mu buntu nti buli lwempulira President Museveni nga ayogera ku bakyala ab'eggwanga lino nga bw'ayogera nakuwala nnyo kuba mu bubi bwa gavumenti ezaaliko they respected women and respected mothers and defended them n'abantu bennyini ab'omutima omulungi nga Babyanyima family bakuuma maama wa President Museveni nga tekyali tekyebuuzibwa oba alwanyisa gavumenti oba nedda omulembe guno President Museveni n'ab'omu nju ye ng'eddembe ly'obuntu balitwala nga omuzannyo ng'ekyokukudaalirako tuwemuka nnyo siraba nakyafunamu kubanga ku bikoloberwa byonna ebiri ku menu ye ebikoloberwa ku bakazi nakazadde b'eggwanga ku Miriam Matembe ng'eyakola ssemateeka eyalineko constitutional commission eyaliko eyatambula eggwanga eno lyonna okunoonyereza ebirowoozo by'Abannayuganda atukakasa bukakasa nti Museveni yennyini omutuufu yono si yooli etwali tulowooza n'ekitalo nnyo tone eya speech ye enjogera eya speech ye ngisuubira mu bisajjasajja ebiri eyo mu byalo byange namwendwa ebimala googera sibisuubira omukulembeze wa ggwanga I don't bwe mba musuubiramu byatali ansonyiwe naye bwe nti bwe nsuubira
ng'omulwanizi w'eddembe kino kyabayisizza kiti
bayira wenze ndi musanyufu ate nnyo ku byeriwo kuba babadde batwekweseemu nnyo naye era Mukama Katonda oyo atali yanguzi abarivirinzi ababikudde era kaakati yemboozi e Kenya yemboozi mu United Nations yemboozi buli waka yemboozi buli ssimu, yemboozi buli rediyo, emboozi eri ankole, eri ekigezi, akyoli. Buli omu yeefumintiriza ku biriwo ne bimejjukiza ebibaddewo byetubadde tubikkirira nga tetumanyi abikola, tetumanyi nannyini byo, tetumanyi abiteesa, tetumanyi abiteekamu. Kati tumumanyi ye yennyini. Okubanga revolution eri ku ttaka, Luweero mwafiira bwereere. Mukama akibabalire.
A couple of days ago, the President of Uganda declared war against democracy, the rule of law and constitutionalism in his address, which coincided with the 250 years of freedom of the American people. He has his own intentions for having done that, and if you remember, he said there are certain religious people who wrote to him and informed him that what is being done is against the constitution and the rule of law. And as a man with a PhD in reverse psychology and also using displacement methods in psychology, he does exactly the opposite of what people who are supposed to guide him said. You are well aware that Ugandans are unendangered species. In the middle of his leadership, and we were just glad that he came out in open to come and dispel some of the doubts that we had, and also the confusion that has been propounded by his very son, the CDF, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who in the recent past has been at the helm of the leadership of this country by taking over the executive authority of the presidency of Uganda. And we, as Ugandans, wanted the president to come out, since he has just sworn in, to tell us that he has ceded his executive authority to the son. And he tried to do that by exerting himself, unfortunately justifying what the son has been doing all along, which is definitely a contradiction of what people of his age would have wanted to believe a president should do. We have a reply to his statements, and I will read them verbatim from the PFF. We shall therefore address two issues in this press conference. One, a direct reply to the President's statement, which we think is unfortunate, and we shall ask him to withdraw as the President of Uganda. We shall also address the distractions that is causing the opposition by making us quite uncomfortable all the time as his party prepares to rig the LC1 elections. So the press release goes as follows. Fellow Ugandans, let's drop the theatrics and speak truth. Mr. Museveni Tibuhaburwa stood up and asked, why is Besigye refusing trial? Mr. President, with respect, that is a lie. The truth is the opposite. It is you who is obstructing justice. Since 16th November 2024, here is your record. Number one, a retired soldier, Colonel, retired Major Ronald Iduri, on the Besigye's legal team, was arrested on his way to court, to the court martial, arrested for defending a client. That was the message do not dare defend Besigye. This retired major was a counsel on the defense team. Number 2, Counsel Aaron Kiza was arrested inside the court martial in front of the chairman Freeman Mugabe. He was brutally dragged out like a thief for doing his work. A lawyer convicted for lawyering. Number 3, Counsel Elias Lukwago was abducted from his bedroom and taken to the basement where he was severely tortured. The photos were all over for everyone to see, including yourself. His offense, serving General Muhoozi with the summons of court. Who made these summons? Justice Emmanuel Baguma, who you appointed as Justice of High Court to do your dirty job. In Uganda today, serving papers is now a crime. Serving court papers. Number 4, Senior Counsel Martha Karua was arrested and deported. A former justice minister in Kenya thrown out for representing a Ugandan citizen. That is how scared you are of the law and the message of Dr. Kiza Besigye. Number 5, every other lawyer standing with Dr. Besigye is followed, photographed, and intimidated. Their offense, their offices are watched, their phones are tapped, and this is not security, it is fear. And then you had the audacity to say Besigye should not get bail because he will threaten state witnesses who happen to be senior military officers. Of course, there was an example of a senior military officer who happens to be a CDF who was threatened by service of court papers, and he ended up committing atrocities to a civilian doing his job. No wonder other similar security agencies, especially the military officers, are so scared with a civilian getting bail. Shame on them and shame on your government. Let the nation answer. How does a 70-year-old civilian locked up for close to 2 years threaten senior UPDF generals? Generals with guns, with escorts, with the treasury behind them, threatened by a man in a checkered hooded shirt? That one sentence exposes you, Mr. President. You control the judiciary. When the commander-in-chief decides bail, we do not have courts. We have command posts. In which country have we ever seen a president determining who to give bail and who not to give bail? Then what will be the use of the courts? Here in the bush, he was the Chief Justice. So he wants to continue to be Chief Justice in a country established with institutions of government, including the judiciary. It's a very big shame. And to this is not about Besigye alone. It's about every Ugandan. If lawyers can be arrested in court, then no citizen is safe. If lawyers can be deported for taking a brief, then the Constitution is already buried. If a retired soldier cannot defend a retired colonel, then Uganda is not governed by law. It is governed by orders. And it does not stop there with Besigye. The people you call your Abazukuru should not forget Sam Mugumya, all the People's Front for Freedom, kidnapped on the 16th of August last year in Imbarara. Today is July 2026. His family does not know if he is still alive. No charge, no court, no body, just silence. John Bosco Chibarama of NUP, missing for 7 years. A father, a Ugandan, and the state shrugs. We don't know. Incidentally, last year, 2 years ago, when I was in Parliament, the Prime Minister admitted that they had Chibarama and that he was safe. Not only Chibarama, because there are very many others. I know about another one called the Muhammad, I forget the other name. He was also kidnapped and he has never been seen again. Muhammad Kanata, he was coming from Mukono area. He has never been seen again. But when we are talking about Chibarama, he obstructs, swamps up everybody else. But several others also have never been seen again. This regime. Where is the Okukaraba you preached about, Mr. Tibuhaburwa? Where is accountability? You want to talk about indigenous justice and cows for a life, but you cannot even tell a mother where her son's body is. Mr. Museveni's sarcasm and application of reverse psychology is to escape his negligence of duty as his son is busy taking over the executive authority. Those of you who don't remember, it is this president who has been, in the first instance he said he didn't want to rule Uganda. He was in a bingo. He said, you people, you can now select a new leader. So that he sees those who can propose a new leader and he deals with them. They were wise and told him that it is you, nobody else. So he was happy. He had confused them. You know, you people, I have been leading you for a very long time in the bush. Now that we have captured, now you select a leader. He just wanted people, the naive, to do what he was telling them, but he wanted the opposite. That is the reverse psychologists we are talking about. You will also remember that this is the man who opposed the courts of law under his regime. When the late Andrew Takole Kayiira was arrested and detained and tried for treason, the state didn't have enough evidence to have him convicted. So they set him free. He was outside the country because he expected the courts to convict Andrew Takome Kayiira. The courts did not see any evidence to convict him. And when he came back, the first statement he made was, and I quote, if these European courts can free a man that we know is guilty, can free a man that we know is guilty, then we revolutionaries will stand up and oppose these European courts. What followed thereafter? Kayiira was killed by gunshots. Up to now, we don't know who killed Kayiira, but I hear he even instituted Scotland. He had investigators who have been demanding for the last 40 years, and nothing has ever happened. And then when you hear the president saying that the courts have been failed, they cannot speed up the justice, then he wants to resort to mob justice. The president pronounced that people see the courts are slow and therefore resort to mob justice. And the president pronounced that as a mechanism for pursuing justice. Isn't it similar to the opposition to the courts when they freed Andrew Takome Kayiira, a mob justice that happened to Kayiira in form of gunshots and he was killed? Can the president say that? Whose courts are they anyway? Isn't it public knowledge that the president appointed cadre judges? Isn't it public knowledge that each of the justices must get his nod in order to carry out a sentence or to make a ruling? In any case, isn't it himself who said, we shall not give bail? We shall not give bail? A president, the chief executive, said, we shall not give bail? You as who? Chief Justice? No wonder. I remember the Chief Justice, Onyidolo, said that beyond me as Chief Justice, there are Chief Justice above the Chief Justice. You know, Ugandans will forget very quickly. Former Chief Justice Onyidolo said, beyond him, there is another Chief Justice. He didn't mention. Now we can see the Chief Justice reporting himself to us. We cannot give bail. We cannot give bail. Leave the courts to do their work, Mr. President. Leave the courts to do their work. Let them exercise their independence and adjudicate, because that is what the oath they took. They didn't take the oath of the president. They are not the chief executives, but they are the land friends that we honor. They wear a wig. Even when they are young and they don't have gray hair, they wear a wig to show that they are above pettiness and they can exercise their mandate in accordance with the Constitution and the laws established. Not with the influence of anyone, but the intuition, wisdom offered by God and what they studied. And the president is threatening them. Where is Nzeija in this? Nzeija should come out. He's the Chief Justice and say the courts are independent enough to exercise their mandate. And I want to thank the Uganda Law Society. Uganda Society came out, said it is not about orders from above, it's about the law, the Constitution. And the judicial officers, we cannot just give bail. We cannot give bail. Did you study the law? Are you the Chief Justice? We have the mandate to speak about this because we know. And when the president speaks because he has a bigger audience, people take it for granted that this is what is right. But when the president says something wrong, we have the right of reply. And Ugandans must rise up. Those who wrote to President Museveni recently to advise him on what is happening, the 4 things that are happening, should not tire. They should continue to write to him. The reverse psychologist will always want to maintain his position. But you must continue to write and wash your hands in public that you did your job. For the Christians and the believers, God will ask you, where were you when these bad things were happening? And you have to answer. At least say, we wrote to the president. I wish you had made it an open letter. We would have praised you. We shall never tire to thank those who have come out openly. The bishops who have come up, the other religious leaders, and the cultural leaders who have come out. We cannot thank enough the Kabaka of Uganda, who extended support to the family of our president, Elias Lukwago, incarcerated now and is sick. If we were in our conference, we would have clapped for the Kabaka of Uganda for the gesture he did. These gestures matter. They show that this is the country owned by us, worth fighting for in all ways possible. For me, that gesture by the Kabaka of Uganda is a manifestation that he stands with the people. We want more from the public. Back to the statement, our demands are non-negotiable. The People's Front for Freedom demand, 1, an immediate, free and fair trial before a neutral judge for Dr. Kizza Besigye and Obed Rutale. No more soldiers playing judge. 2, drop all the charges against Aaron Chiza, Elias Lukwago, and every intimidated lawyer. Publicly apologize to Martha Karua and the Republic of Kenya, and guarantee her safe return to Uganda to practice the law. Actually, this apology should be extended to Uganda, because we are ashamed, not only in the East African community region, we are ashamed globally. In my language, they say, Muliyambamba abomu navumaganye chika. If Uganda was our clan, we are ashamed with all those things that have happened. Number 3, produce Sam Gumia, dead or alive. If he has a case to answer, charge him in the competent court. Produce John Bosco Chibalama and tell his orphaned children the truth. Not only Chibalama, as I said, Muhammad Kanata is another one of Mukono. Number 4, disband the trial of civilians in court martial. A civilian cannot be tried by soldiers. That is not justice. The military that is military dictatorship. General Yoweri Museveni, you cannot chant Wakiri Tweba Kotulo while your agents abduct lawyers. You cannot claim to fight impunity while your very son practices it. Hear this clearly, sir. We shall not be afraid. Arrest one lawyer, 10 more lawyers will rise up. Jail one leader, 1,000 leaders will rise up. To our leader, Dr. Besigye, we see you, we are with you all the way. To the lawyers, you are the last wall between us and tyranny. We salute you. To the family of Sam Mugumya and all the others who have disappeared, enforced disappearance, we have not forgotten. We will not forget about you. You also forgot to mention the closure of the Nation Media. Yes, the president forgot, I think, your son told the country that the company loses $5 million every day. By today, it is over $50 million gone of fear. All this started in 2025 when we tore out term limits. 2005. And later, the age limit from our constitution. Your Life Presidency Project and the Family Rule Project will only deliver anarchy to the people that you call Bazuku. We demand one thing, a peaceful transition, no succession by family or establishment of a dynasty. That is the only guarantee for Uganda's future. And we ask you to take this solemnly, because Uganda belongs to us. We are the indigenous people. We shall die here. We shall live here. We are going nowhere. Maybe, Mr. President, you have somewhere to go. Your family has somewhere to go. For us, even when we die in the dungeons, in the basement, we are proud to die in Uganda. If at all, only if you can produce us and our people bury us. That is good contentment enough for us to continue to fight for our country. You too risked your life to fight for what you have benefited from this country. Unlike you, we want our country to be a safe place for us and for our bazukuru, for those who have them and those who do not have them. So grant us an opportunity to live in our country safely, and grant your family also an opportunity to coexist with us. Finally, that is from this release, you'll get it. We are also seeing a destruction of political parties on opposition, particularly by President Museveni and his son, making theatrics, very dangerous theatrics, because all the time we are scratching where they are causing an itch by visiting violence to us. So we are distracted from the national programs. We are busy with the Lukwago, we are busy with the BCJ. Many people are unsafe. Everybody thinks that maybe another time I'm going to be arrested, put in a dungeon. That is the Uganda you want. And the opposition actor who cannot concentrate to build their country. So you are doing so in order to remove our attention to the national programs, including that of elections of LC1 chairpersons and executives. While we are fighting this war, we are rallying our people, our supporters, our members, not to ignore the LC1 election. Today is the first day for registering a village council, and all members of the village will register under the electoral commission. The mechanism they have provided is through their agents at the village level. Today is a working day, it's a Monday and Tuesday. They have given only 2 days to complete a village register. And most of these are NRM functionaries anyway. All they want is to establish village registers where they can have those people who can elect NRM candidates. As Museveni is busy distracting us and causing our attention to go this way, they are organizing that way to rig this election and come out with LC1s who are NRM. And there is purpose for it. LC1 is a very powerful instrument because they have the stamp legally recognized. Even in the courts of law, they will want the letter from the LC1. So if at all the LC1 is NRM, is likely to ostracize you. In the sale of land, they need a stamp of the LC1 as a witness. Then they can transact the way they want. Only those LC1 who have been gumite enough, those LC1 who have been stamping authentic papers, have saved those villages from the sale to the functionaries of the state. Otherwise, our people would be landless by this time. That is why good people must participate. And we are directing all our registrars at the sub-county level to guide those people who are going to run for LC1 chairmanship, guide them through the elections, stamp their papers, and make them return to them to the Electoral Commission and see to it that they are elected. That is the only gift that we can give to the leadership, the grassroots leadership of our country at this time. We want to implore to you, where we have no candidates, simply ensure that you don't elect candidates aligned to those people who are ostracizing us. Don't elect candidates aligned to NRM or PLU. You have seen in the recent past what these two organizations are doing to us. You have seen how the potential danger they can cause to this country. PLU, headed by the president's son, who has an army behind him. The only power you have against them is to vote for those people who are not going to be like them. That is the only gift that you can give yourself. Posterity will absolve us as PFF. Don't elect them. Elect anybody else. Don't elect those people aligned to those organizations. PLU, a son of the NRM. These are bad organizations. Their intentions are bad, and therefore you must be very careful while selecting. Only those gallant Ugandans, none aligned to those forces, because they are bad forces. They are diabolical in nature. Don't elect them. We shall fight together with other forces that are pro-people, but not the ones that have demonstrated capability to annihilate a population opposed to them. They are directed so, and our leaders should be activated at the grassroots level to ensure that this is done, and also to cooperate with others we know are well-meaning to our society. May God bless you.
General Tibuhabuwa Yoweri Museveni, who prefers calling himself a Jajja, Sabarwanyi, raised two issues that intrigued me as the Attorney General of PFF. You know, as a Jajja, always he has to be reminded by Bazukuru. I have two Jajjas in my family who always do things upside down. And for us as Bazukuru, we keep on reminding them, please, things should be done this way. Now, the two issues that intrigued me as the Attorney General of PFF are the attack on Uganda's legal system and the attack on the rule of law. Now, one thing, as head of state, he has an Attorney General and a crowd of lawyers whose duty is to advise him on the law. Each time they fail, we shall not hesitate to remind him about the law and his duty to uphold the law, obey it, and comply with the provisions of the Constitution. The same law that we are relying on to defend Dr. Besigye and Hajo Bedrutare is the same law we shall quote when we are defending him in the dock, in the likely event that tables turn and we are called upon to represent Jajja in court. The law is a shield. It is a shield to protect all of us, irrespective of your political inclination. Now, the first reminder I would like to bring to the attention of Jajja is Article 98, Clause 3, and Schedule 4. That is what describes the presidential oath. When he was taking oath as head of state, he took an oath to protect the Constitution of Uganda, and all the laws of this country. For as long as he still stands by that oath, he has no option but comply with the Constitution and respect all the laws made under that Constitution. If I was asked, or if he asked me for legal advice on how to circumvent this, how to go outside this, he has two options. The first option is to resign. Once he resigns, no one will be bothered about him, reminding him to comply with the Constitution and obey the laws, because then he will have become an ordinary citizen and the laws will handle him as such. The second option, which is treasonous, is to overthrow the Constitution. The moment he says, I'm overthrowing the Constitution, I'm abrogating the Constitution, no one will remind him about the Constitution. Save that the risky part of that, it will trigger into action Article 3 of our Constitution that calls upon all Ugandans to defend the Constitution. So for as long as he still claims to stand by the oath he took, for as long as he still wants to be president, he has no option but to follow the Constitution. I had a friend, the late Christopher Chiombo, son of senior counsel, the late Kazora. He would always say, go back to the Constitution. At this point, I dare say that please, Jaja, General 7, go back to the Constitution and follow it. Now, the Constitution, we are reminding the President as the instrument he used to take oath, has Article 2, which declares the sovereignty of the Constitution, that Constitution is supreme. Article 3 demands all Ugandans, including General Museveni, to fight and defend that Constitution at all costs. The laws he's complaining about, I would like to remind him of Article 91 of our Constitution, in particular Clause 3. There is no single law in this country that becomes law without the signature of the President. He assents to all the laws in this country. He can't be the very person to say that the laws are bad, and yet is the one who has signed them, who has assented to them. Now, having said that, we now go to Article 28 of our Constitution. Article 28 of our Constitution is the one that guarantees fair hearing. Any person being tried is entitled to a right of a fair hearing. And that the concept of fair hearing has several tenets. One of the tenets is the demand for presumption of innocence. Jaja said Besigye and Haji Rutale should hurriedly come and defend their innocence. That is an unconstitutional statement. In all criminal matters, an accused person has the burden of proving his innocence. The Constitution has already declared him or her innocent under Article 28, Clause 3, Paragraph A. The burden is on those who are accusing him of committing an offense, who must prove his guilt. It's not the other way around. Please the lawyers in government departments, in particular the Attorney General, give proper legal advice to the head of state. Don't subject that office of the president to ridicule. The moment you don't discharge your duty of giving proper legal advice, a head of state will end up making statements that are illegal, that are unconstitutional, and shameful, and you bring the whole country under disrepute. The same Article 28 demands that an accused person must be informed, properly informed of the allegations brought against him. The entire evidence the state has against the accused must be put on table for the accused to understand. We are dealing with a case in which the state is relying on audio evidence, video evidence. Now, that requires the accused persons to watch those videos, listen to the audios, and discuss the contents of the same with their lawyers. That can only be done if the gadgets required to do that are made accessible to the accused persons. Court, the Honorable Land Justice Baguma Emmanuel, gave us permission to access Luzira prisons and review the entire evidence with the accused persons. Unfortunately, Uganda prisons did not allow us to enter into the prison premises with not even a pen, not even with a phone, for us to access the accused persons and review their evidence. Now at that point, how dare you say that the accused persons are aware of the offenses and they are aware of the evidence, therefore they should not delay the trial. Article 128, Clause 3 of the Constitution of Uganda demands that all agencies of the state, by agencies I include UPDF, I include Uganda prisons, all agencies are supposed to accord the courts such assistance as may be required to ensure effectiveness in the delivery of justice by the courts. Now, where a court has made an order allowing lawyers to access their clients with such equipment to enable them to go through the evidence, and you block them from accessing the accused persons, will you really have helped courts? Where courts are demanding the accused persons to produce their lawyers in court and they proceed with the hearing and you abduct the lawyers, will you have helped the court? You will have breached Article 128, Clause 3. Therefore, Judge, if you are interested in a speedy, expeditious trial of Dr. Besigye, demand all the government agencies, all the departments to remove their hands off the justice of the case. They should not interfere with the way the case is proceeding by arresting lawyers, by denying accused persons access to evidence, by intimidating the lawyers, by intimidating the judges, by hiding identities of witnesses. By doing all that, they are putting roadblocks on the way to justice and a speedy trial of the case. The other demand under Article 28 is that the lawyers, the accused persons, are entitled to legal representation. Legal representation of their choice. in their decision, Haji Rutale and Dr. Besigye mobilized legal services from within Uganda and outside Uganda. What happened has been expounded upon by the Vice Chair of PFF. Our lead counsel, Senior Martha Karua, was declared persona non grata, an unwanted person, and deported. At a time when we are campaigning for regional integration, at a time when we are encouraging mobility of labor throughout the region and beyond, surely the act we did of deporting Karua, how different is it from what is happening to our fellow Ugandans in South Africa? We demand that the persona non grata order should be rescinded. It should be rescinded so that Martha Karua and all the other lawyers across the borders can come and represent their clients. We demand that the entire legal team that's defending Dr. Besigye and Haji Rutale should be allowed to execute their duties unencumbered. Otherwise, the president will lose sleep that the case is not proceeding. Judge, we don't want you to lose sleep because the right things are not being done.
Raising a bicycle, but holding the brakes. Now,
you heard the accused person the other day lamenting that his mouth is closed, is with sellotape. The hands are tied, the legs are tied, and you are still demanding he should come and defend himself. Your Excellency, it's not a good idea to ride the bicycle while holding a visa. Release the clutch if you want the motorcycle to move. For justice to move, all the links within the chain of justice must freely move. And it is within the principles of our legal system that all benefits of doubts must go to the accused person. If the prosecutors are failing here and there, it is not for the president to descend into the arena of court to fill in the gaps. The same Constitution, Article 28, Clause 3, Paragraph G, demands that accused persons must be afforded the facilities and opportunity to cross-examine all the witnesses without limit. Dr. Besigye, Haji Rutale have already indicated that they want to cross-examine General David Muhoozi, CDF, in the matters that are pending before court. If the president wants the case to move very fast, should accompany the son to court, they invite Besigye, bring your lawyers, unencumbered, and they cross-examine the witness, because that's the command of the Constitution. I would also like to bring the attention of Judge Article 208 of the Constitution of Uganda about UPDF. Clause 2 of that article is so pivotal. It says, the UPDF shall be non-partisan, national in character, professional, disciplined, productive, and this is very important, and subordinate to civilian authority. UPDF is supposed to be subordinate to us. It is not us who are supposed to be subordinate to them. Bapaka Sibafe. UPDF is not supposed to be partisan. It's not supposed to be in bed with PLU, in bed with NRM, because it is supposed to be national in character and non-partisan. Therefore, given the fact that UPDF is supposed to be partisan, it should not be misused in pursuing personal scores. Now, the Ugandans say, "Ebyokala netonya, etulaba ensisira bwe zenkanya emyoyo." There's no such Wachere who said, unless the wind blows, you can never see the vent of a hen. Had it not been for this case of Vestige, we wouldn't have seen UPDF abducting lawyers. Now, the question follows, is UPDF still non-partisan? Is it behaving professional? Is it subordinate to civilian authority? We pray, we demand that UPDF, as the late Christopher Chiombo said, should go back to the Constitution, should go back to Article 208. Article 1261 of the Constitution of Uganda provides that judicial power is derived from the people and shall be exercised by courts in accordance with the values and norms and aspirations of Ugandans. So these courts are not a private instrument of Jaja. These are state institutions. They are supposed to act independently. They are supposed to administer justice irrespective of social, economic status of those who appear before them. And Article 128 guarantees independence of the judiciary. Now, talking about independence, the independence goes to another level. Not even a Chief Justice can order a trial judge to act in a particular way when he's handling a matter. A judicial officer is supposed to act independently without any interference from any other quarters. Now, for Jaja to say that bail should not be granted is a contravention of Article 28, which guarantees the right to apply for bail. So, we should also remind the President that as head of state, he signed international instruments, some of which were passed by the UN, others by the African Union, and other international bodies. Now, that one means that we are subject to the standards set by those international instruments. You will allow me to cite just one. The UN standards on minimum rules for non-custodial measures. In particular, principle number 1, it demands that it should be in only exceptional circumstances that we should allow pre-trial detention. In other words, people should be out as they are defending themselves. They should be free as the trials are going on. You should only enter prisons after you have been convicted and sentenced. His Excellency talked about okukaraba, compensating the aggrieved party. If you keep someone in detention before trial, and after several years that person is found innocent, or you withdraw the charges as they usually do, what amount of kukaraba will you do for such an innocent soul who has been tortured, detained for so many years, and at the end of the day you say, we were joking, we are withdrawing the charges? Or at the end of the day, court finds that the man is innocent. What amount of kukaraba? 1,000 cows? 10,000 cows? And who should pay? Now, the other issue I want to talk about is the issue of commenting about cases that are pending in court. It offends the doctrine of sub judice. You don't comment about a pending case in court in a way that has an effect of influencing the trial judge. I was shocked when I heard the head of state saying, why is Besigye delaying the trial? Why should you give bail? Those are very unfortunate statements at a time when the bail application for Dr. Besigye and Haji Rutale has just been fixed for hearing. It is a very unfortunate statement at a time when we have just filed application number 248 of 2026 demanding for fair hearing, demanding that conditions that are prerequisite for a fair hearing to happen be put in place. They are unfortunate statements because they put the trial judge in a very, very awkward position. At this time in Uganda, it is rare to find a judge who will really risk to make a judgment that contradicts the position of Judge Tibuhaburwa. Very rare. We no longer have those judges of that kind of spine. And therefore it sends shockwaves down our spine each time we hear a head of state commenting about a case that is pending in court. As PFF Attorney General, I would like to give unsolicited advice to Judge Tibuhaburwa that he should as much as possible refrain from commenting about cases that are pending in court. It doesn't augur well. And for an expeditious trial to happen in the case of Dr. Besigye and Haji Rutale, surely they should be granted bail. Once they are on bail, you will not hear lawyers saying they want to take laptops and projectors to Zira prisons. No. Because then our clients will be accessible. Talking about indigenous justice system. The justice system we have in Uganda is indigenous because it is based on the laws that are homegrown. The constitution we have was made by ourselves. The laws that the president assented to were made here in our parliament. The international instruments we signed was with the approval of our own parliament. Now, in the event that the president meant the just system of the traditional African society as it were before colonialism, that justice system also guaranteed principles of fair hearing. They had things like a bank should never sit in the case involving the burning of a forest. You heard of a saying, tosala gwakawala, matona ulya gwakalenzi. You don't judge a case brought by the daughter before hearing what the son is saying. Those are principles of fair hearing. The other day I had someone on Bukede teaching us about the origin of Weyogerere. That the slaves who are going to be taken to be executed, and the king met them, and he said, "Obusajja mubuleke Weyogerere." That the men also defend themselves. That is a pre-colonial justice system that also guaranteed fair hearing. Even where someone was going to be sentenced to death, the taboos, the norms, the customs were respected. And elders, experts in those taboos and customs were summoned to come and sensitize the Kabaka or the king before someone could lose his life. So in a case where someone is charged with treason that is punishable with a death sentence, we shouldn't be playing around with the minimum standards that guarantee fair hearing. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Nalowooza nti abatwaliddwa mu kkooti nga te abatutte mu kkooti be balina obuyinza okulaga nti tebazza musango, nti tegwabasinga. N'olwekyo omukulu ono yeerabidde principle eyo ekulaga nti tolina musango okutuuka nga gukukakaseeko, so nga ye agamba nti olina omusango gwejjeeko bwejja. Era nno byonna byoleka butya bwalowooza ku kano Dr. Kizza Besigye ali mu kkomera ne Obedi Lutale n'abasibe abalala, nti yabasalira dde omusango bino kuyisa buyisa bivvulu basobole okutuukiriza ekirowoozo kye, naye nga ndabanga ekimulakira. Olw'okubeera nti no Pulezidenti w'eggwanga yayogedde ku lunaku era nga United States of America ejaguza emyaka 25 egy'eddembe ery'obuntu obwebange, twewuunya lwaki lweyayise statement yen. Naye olw'okubeera nti yakoonye ku bintu bingi nga bikwatagana ku nfuga era nga bikwatagana ne ku nfuga ey'amateeka ne constitution, ekibiina kya People's Front for Freedom ekisinze okukwagulwa President Museveni ne gavumenti ye kirina statement eno gye tukoze era gye ngenda okusoma bukolokolo, nti bino bye tulimu si bya lwali kulu Museveni, bino bye tulimu si bya kugezaako kubuzaabuza bantu. Mwami President ateekwa okumanya nti omusango okutambula obukwakku gulina kugwesigama, era nga ye yalina obuvunaanyizibwa lwaki omusango gwavunaana Dr. Besigye n'Obedi Lutale tegugenze bukwakku, kubanga waliwo ensonga zino wammanga. Nze muteekwa okumanya ku rekodi nti azikola okusobola okutangira omusango okutambula obukwakku. Sooka waliwo looya ate nga yali mujaasi naye nga yawummula bujaasi, retired Major Ronald Idoli, era nga yali ku legal team ku kibinja ky'abannamateeka ekya Besigye. Baamukwata era ne bamubuzaawo. Message gye baamuwa yali emu, oyinza otya okubeera ku kibinja ky'abalooya ekiweereza Besigye? Naguno gujwa baamusiriza, situmanyi na gyali bulungi. Kanso Aaron Kizza baamukwatira mu court martial era baamukwata ng'omubbi oba w'enkoko, naye nga looya mulamba ali ku defense team eya Dr. Besigye. Sebo tebagenda ne bamusalira omusango, tegubeera kubeera musango ogwawaabirwa mu kkooti eya waggulu okukwatagana ne ba civilian okubeera nga bavunaanibwa mu kkooti y'amateeka gwali gwa Michael Kabaziguruka. Singa ssebo Aaron Kiiza looya wa Dr. Besigye akyali mu kkomera, Kanso Elias Lukwago ng'agenda kuwa tabani wa President Museveni summons okujja okwewozaako okuwera ennemba n'omusango ogw'okutyoboola eddembe ery'obuntu ery'obwebange bwe yagamba nti ayagala mu bwangu obw'ekitalo okutuga Dr. Besigye agende yeewozeeko olw'okutyoboola eddembe. Elias Lukwago bamukwatira mu makaage, ne bamukwatakwata, ne bamuwamba, ne bamutwala mu basement, nakati ali luzira mu bulwadde obwa mujimba. Ono yeewokubiri ku balooya abakulu mu ttiimu ya Dr. Besigye. Kanso Martha Karua yakwatibwa n'azzibwayo ne Kenya naye nga yakulira ttiimu ewolereza Besigye. Bino byonna bikolebwa omulembe gwa Mwami Museveni ono n'ekigendererwa okutaataaganya ttiimu ewolereza Besigye ye asobole okulaba ng'omusango gugenda bukwakku, ng'omusango ogwo guteekwa kukka Besigye mu vi asobole okumutuga nga takwatiddwako. Naye nga yeerabidde nti omuntu ateekwa okulamulwa, naye ng'okulamulwa okwo waliwo obwenkanya mu kulamulwa okwo. Kale no mu kulamulwa okwo okubeerawo n'obwenkanya wateekwa okubeerawo nze avunaanibwa okubeera ne balooya benneesiga abange ku bwange. Kati Dr. Besigye balooya ababe ku bubwe beyeesiga bw'okute bw'oteeka mu kkomera, bw'ofufuggaza, bw'ogobaganya, bw'otiisatiisa, bw'oyagala okutta, tobakkiriza nagenda kukola mu mulimu gwabwe bulungi. Wandisuubidde otya omusango okutambula obukwakku ng'ate ebyo bye bigenda mu maaso ate nga gwo byereetedde. Mwami Museveni akitegeere nti kyeyendere bwalyanjola bino ye yabyereetera. Naye ekisinga okututiisa kwe kubeera nti President Museveni yagambye nti abantu y'ensonga lwaki batwalira amateeka mu ngalo. President okuwa akabega abantu okutwalira amateeka mu ngalo kyefaanaanyiriza lwe yayogera ku kuteebwa kwa Andrew Takweme Kayiira mu kinaana eyo mugyekinana nga baakajja yatwala Kayiira n'amuvunaana okulya mu nsi olukula, naye nga talina bujulizi bumukakasaako omusango ogwo. Kooti ne omusango negugoba, Kayiira ne bamuta n'alya butaala. Bwakomawo okuva ebweru statement yasooka okukola Mwami Museveni ono yennyini nti bwabulwa yagamba nti kooti zino ez'abazungu ezaleetebwa abazungu bwe ziba nga zisobola okuta omuntu gwe tumanyi nti yazza omusango, ffe bakawunyansiko tujja kuyimirira tuziwakanye. Bwatyo bwe yayogera, nze kikyusiza mu Luganda, era ebyaddirira mu kuwakanya okwo Kayiira yattibwa nagulugujwa, tetumanyi yamutta oba yalagira kuttibwa kwe, naye nga tumanyi nti yattibwa na mmundu. Kaakati Pulezidenti okuvaayo mu kiseera kino okwekokkola okubeera nti omusango tegutambudde bukwakku, nga yeekokkola enfuga ey'amateeka era n'akisembereza eky'abantu okutwalira amateeka mu ngalo, kiba kyekuusa ku kiri ekyaliwo, naddala ng'omuntu abadde avunaaniddwa omusango nga bwe gumuka mu vi gubeera gwakuttibwa. Era ekigendererwa kya Pulezidenti Museveni mu kuvaayo okulwanyisa enfuga ey'amateeka n'okuyisa olugaayo mu ngeri kooti gyekolamu emirimu gyayo, era n'okuvaayo n'alagira ffe tetugenda kubawa beyiro. Yes, ssebo omukulu w'eggwanga tukussaamu ekitiibwa wakalondebwa era wakamala okulayira, naye gwe Chief Justice kikakata ku Chief Justice gwe walonda kasita yakuba ebirayiro yakuva mu ngalo, ateekwa kukolanga constitution n'amateeka bwe galagira. si gwe kumuwa biragiro. Tolina buyinza okumuwa ebiragiro, era naye talina buyinza okukkiriza mu biragiro ebyo, kubanga bye yalayira kwe kukola omulimu gwe gw'obulamuzi nga yeetengeredde. Kijja kubeera kya bukalabakalaba singa omulamuzi ayimirira butengerera n'asala omusango era n'awuliza omusango bwe guteeka okugenda okusinziira ku mateeka, naye kijja kubeera kya bwewussa na buwutufu okuva ku mulamwa ogwo. Lwekyo tugamba Mwami Museveni okugamba nti no abajaasi be mbu batya, mbu Besigye bw'anaabeera ng'aweereddwa beyiro ajja kutiisatiisa abajaasi be abajja okuwa obujulizi. Abajaasi be abalina emmundu balina ne escort, balina ne ssente butitimbe ezibagenderako. Omusajja eyava mu magye ali mu kkomera, musajja wattu aveeyo nti abatiisetiisa atya. Oba olyawo omutuufu kubanga ne mutabani we CDF mulamba alina amagye gonna gonna yagakulira, chairman wa Defence Council ne president mwatuula, olaba yatya okumuwa empapula za kooti. Kyeyoleka nti nabana bakola ebikolobero balina bye batya, nakyo Museveni tagenda kutweyambululirako. Ekyo tetujja kukikkiriza. Songa eyokubiri, ebikwatagana ku nsonga eno si bya Besigye, si bya Obedi Lutale bokka, naye ne balooya abalala abakwatiddwa mu kooti. Kitegeeza nti abantu abalala mwenna abatuwuliriza temuli safe. Balooya bwe babeera nga basobola okutwalibwa ne bazizibwayo mu nsi z'aboobwe, kitegeeza ne constitution Mwami Museveni yagirumbye edda. Bw'abeera nga omuntu eyali omujaasi ng'agenda okubeera ku ttiimu y'abalooya n'ojja omulinnya ku bugere, kitegeeza n'enfuga y'amateeka togisaamu kitiibwa. Bano abazzukulu bo bwekyo abazzukulu bo kye bateekwa obuteerabira. Waliwo n'abantu abalala nga Sam Mugumya owa People's Front for Freedom gwe mwawamba nga 16 gw'omunaana mwaka ogwaggo. Leero tuli mu Julayi 2026. Famire ye temanyi gyali oba yattibwa, tefunanga mulambo, tewaliwo na kooti gamba nti balina gye bamututte, musirise busirise. John Bosco Kibalama owa Nuupu myaka 7 na guno gujwa talabikangako. Kati mugamba mbu temumanyi gyali, naye nga Prime Minister Nabbanja yagamba nali mu Parliament tibe bamulina. Omulala Muhammad Kanatta bamukwata na guno gujwa tamanyikiddwako mafiire kubanga ye talabikangako. Kale no ebintu bino by'ogamba nti abantu basobola okuva mu misango nga mu ngeri eya bulijjo byemuyita okukalaba, bino byotera okwogerako olwo bitegeeza ki okusinziira ku statement gyewakoze ebya kooti zino eza bulijjo ez'abantu aba bulijjo mu mawanga gwaffe. N'olwekyo bino omwami mukulu Museveni bye wayogedde mu bukudaaze obw'ekitalo, olaba wagambye nalabye Miriam Matembe ng'awenyera ng'agenda, naye ate bwe yabadde akomawo yeerabidde okuwenyera. N'olabira ddala ng'ekintu yakyogezza kaaze na mutima mubi. Ate ebintu ebyokwogerera ebintu kwegamba nga kyoyagala okutegeeza ate si kyoyogera, abantu kyoteeka okumanya nti no babigunduwadda. Wano wali enabingo n'obagamba nti mbafuze ekimala munoonyeyo mukulembeze omulala, nga kyoyagala bakugambe tesebo genda mu maaso n'okufuga. Era bye tukyalaba kati gwe ekintu ky'omanyi era ne bannaddiini bye wagambye bakuwandikidde ebbaluwa ne bakutegeeza nti ebintu tebitambula bulungi, oyagalira ddala ate okole ekikontana ne kye bakugambye. Kati obeera muntu wa ngeri ki? Bintu bino byali bibaddewo ne baamiini baaliwo nga tebaweebwa magezi era nga kye bakola kye baagala kye bakola. Abantu batwalibwanga mu dungeon ze batwalibwanga mu buutu z'emmotoka UVS zaalina motoka za buyonjo 504 Pidoti naye kakati drones ze ziriko kakati bwabeera nga mugundi Amini yabikolanga mu Jensanvu bwe ng'obikola mu mulembe guno ani asinga okubeera ow'obulabe ng'ekibiina kya People's Front for Freedom tulina ebintu bina bye twagala President Museveni ne gavumenti ye eaddressinga. Ekisooka bw'abeera ng'ayagala omusango gwa Dr. Besigye gugende bukwakku akole ekyetaagisa naye olw'okubeera nti mujweteke yeekube mu mutima mu busajja bwe obukulu amute oba amuteeke bakkirize bafune omulamuzi omulala ng'atalina kyekubiira era bateekewo ebisobozesa obulamuzi obutuufu. Tiimu ya Dr. Besigye ey'abamateeka bagikkirize ebeerewo. Ebyokukwata Erias Lukwago n'okuzzayo Martha Karua byali bigendereddwa kugootaanya ntambula ya musango. Babakomyewo on board yeyo tiimu ya Besigye gyasiimye baleke bajje bamuwolereze era bwe banabeera nga bamusaliriza nga tulina obusobozi okugenda mu kooti tweyongereyo byokugamba nti ate kakati temujja kumuwa beiro ebyo tebibeera bibyo. Kyokubiri abantu abavunaanibwa mu ngeri eno nga Aaron Kiza, Erias Lukwago ne balooya bonna bonna abali ku defense team n'abalala bonna n'abalamuzi abatiisibwatiisibwa amasimu oba ebiragiro ebiva mu executive power yo kyajeezeeza abantu abo zibagibweko. Era nga President Museveni yeetaaga okwetondera Martha Karua ng'amaze okuggyawo ekibaluwa kye bamuteekako eky'omuntu ateetagibwa mu ggwanga. Naye si Martha Karua yekka, yetondere n'eggwanga lya Kenya ne bannayuganda twetondere kubanga ffe tusinza okuswala mu bikolwa ebyo. Ekyokusatu twagala Sam Mugumya oba bamutta batuwe omulambo gwe bw'abeera nga gyali bamutwale mu kooti. Twagala John Bosco Kibalama wonna waali oba mulamu oba mufu ne Muhammad Kanatta oyo tetuddangamu kumuwuliza naye wakiri batubuulire gye bamuziika oba bamusuula mu River Nile n'akulukuka batutegeeze tujja kumuteegera e Cairo. Ekyokuna ekintu ekyokuddira ba civilian okubatwala mu court martial ekyo mukyerabire. Abantu aba bulijjo banaalamulwanga kooti eza bulijjo ze tumanyi. Naye n'ekintu ekya pulezidenti okuvaayo n'ayogera ku musango ogutambula mu ngeri ey'okugazaako okuwa ebiragiro abalamuzi ekyo kittira ddala omusango. Era nze ndowooza nti omusango gwe bavunaana Dr. Besigye ndaba nga Mwami Museveni yagusse. Ekisigalidde ye Chief Justice okuvaayo atutegeeze nti kakati tebakyasobola kugenda mu maaso kubanga yagulinnyeemu eggere yagugootaanyiza. Basabe ne banyabo bannamawulire ekintu ekyokugamba nti ogenda kulwanyisa Dr. Besigye gwolowooza nti yeefudde nantagambwako nantalamulwa wandisoose Mwami Museveni kugamba ku mutabani wo alabika nti ye nantawabulwa nantagambwako kubanga ebintu ebikoleddwa ensangi zino biraga nti tagambibwako aye naawe wennyini ng'erinnyayo bwe ligamba wandiikubye mu mutima n'olwera nga bwe baba nga bakuwandiikidde ossa ekitiibwa mu ebyo bye baba bakuwandiikidde abakulu banno bye bayogeddeko. Naye tolowooza nti no tugenda kutya nnyo olw'okutwewerera n'okuteekawoko units ez'okutiisatiisa tetugenda kutya ky'omukisa omulungi tuli wano tetulina najje tulaga bajja kututtira wano bajja tubonyaabonyeza wano ekyekisa ekisobola okukolebwa kwe kutuddiza abantu baffe ne batuziika mu kitiibwa nga tuttiddwa mu ngeri bwekyo n'olwekyo ojja kukwata balooya abalala bajja kuvaayo abakulembeze ojja bakwata nga bese bamukwata n'okwata ne Lukwago naye naffe tetutudde n'abalala abeewererwa weebali tetujja kudduka so twagala okwebaza balooya abavuddeyo Uganda Law Society tetuyinza kubeebaza kimala mukoze omulimu gw'amaanyi kubanga mmwe kateni kakati gye tusigazza wakati w'okubeera mu ggwanga ery'abagunjufu oba eggwanga ery'abatemanju temwerabira nti Mwami Museveni yeerabidde n'okwogera ku kya National Media Group mutabani we gye yagamba nti nno musanyufu nnyo kubanga buli lunaku bafiirwa $5,000,000 kale teebereza nsi ki gye tulimu byanfuna kyebyo gwoyagala classified expenditure omudidi gwoyagala ensimbi empitirivu egy'okudduukanya gavumenti naye abakuwa omusolo obaggalawo n'okutaatira mutabani wo eyeewaana mu ssanyu ery'ekitalo mu kubonaabona kwa bannayuganda ababadde bafuna emirimu egibaweebwa National Media Group kyakuswala nnyo ebizibu bwe byatandika bwe wajjawo term limits ng'oyagala life presidency ebizibu bwe byeyongera mu maaso ebizibu by'eggwanga byeyongera mu maaso bwe wajjawo age limit tetwandituuse ku bino byonna ng'oyagala amakaago mwe muba muva abakulembeze Mwami Museveni ekyo abannayuganda tebakyagala tebagenda kukyagala n'abo abeefuula mbu bakyagala abo bannakigwanyizi babalimba baagala mwonoonekeye eddala n'abantu ab'oluseero balukyayire eddala ate buli omunaalabanga abantu ebintu ebyo tebabyagala mujja kweyongera obusungu mujja kukola ebikolobero bingi ate mwongere okukyayibwa Bishopu Bukomeko yabagambye ebyo emukola byonna busungu akasunguyira kaaki emyaka 4 abantu bakuteeredde ekintu tebakukubye emundu tebakuvumye nnyo kiryawo naye n'obeera nga entasiima ebulaagiwa naye tosobola kugamba nti ofuzaana zigenda mwana mu 5 zigende mu 5 aye mutabani waafuge bannayuganda ebyo tebabyagala weebuulirire nga bukyali era ab'omu makaago bagakaabe nga bukyali nti kuggwe bafunyeemu nnyo beenaazizzaako ennaku nga bwe yayogera teriyo muntu mu luseerwe agenda kuddayo kubeera munaku ekyo kituukiridde emyaka gino gy'oyagala 5 genda mwana mu 5 Katonda akuwadde ekisa mwebazi naye ekyokutukakasaako ebirala bye bituleetedde ebizibu bino byolaba n'obukambwe obuyitiridde naye tolowooza nti bannayuganda banaasirika nga balaba ebyo bigenda nedda basobola okubeera abakakkamu naye nga tebagenda kukkiriza bintu ebyo kugenda mu maaso era nga bwe mwakitegedde bannaffe bano era batugulaza batujja ku mulamwa Mwami Museveni abadde aba mutabani we ng'aleeta buno aleeta buli ne turesponinga ku tweets kakati bakutte Besigye bamuganye Martha Karua bamuzizaayo ate kakati kwata Lukwago mutwale mu danjiro yogera bino ne tubeera ku ebyo ebyokwedifendinga n'okutiisatiisa abakulembeze baffe eno nga bwe bateekateeka LC1 zisobole okulondebwa baziwangule naffe tuli eno batutadde mu kwetoliga twagala okubategeeza nga PFF programu ya Electoral Commission twagirabye ng'okwewandiisa kutandika leero kukoma nkya ennaku zino za kukola kiba kitegeeza nti abantu tebajja kubeera ku byalo bulungi okusobola okubeera mu village council registers twagala okwewola Electoral Commission ekirabe mangu era eyongereyo zibeere ennaku waakiri 7 nga ne weekend zikweziri kisobozesa abantu okwewandiisa. Bw'obeera nga tokikoze mwami byabakama tuba tukitegeera bulungi nti olina ebiragiro okulaba nga registers muzimanufacturing kugamba mujingajinge n'ekigendererwa ekyokuwamba LC1. Obukulembeze bwa LC1 bukulu nnyo kubanga bwe buvaako stamp etwala omuntu okweyimirira mu makooti ababeera ku sayidi ya gavumenti tebajja kukkiriza kutuwa mabaluwa ago. Stamp ya LC1 nkulu nnyo kubanga buli kiwandiiko kyonna ekikwatagana ne transactions ez'ettaka ebalibwa. N'olwekyo abantu abatuufu be bokka abateekwa okubeera mu bukulembeze bwa LC1. Naye ng'abantu baffe bamaze okulaba ebikolobero ebikolebwa abakulembeze ba PLU ne NRM mu kuwamba abantu n'okubatuusaako obulabe, obeera muntu nabaki okubeera n'abantu abo nga n'ebibiina byabwe mwogenda okwesimbirawo. N'olwekyo twagala okubakoowoola abakulembeze baffe mu bitundu mufune chairpersons aba LC1 nga kyekirabo kye tugenda okuweera abantu baffe ku grassroots. Mubakolereko stamp ate mubateeketeeke bulungi basobole okuwangula LC1 tufune abantu abatuufu abasobola okudefendinga abantu baffe ku grassroots. Bwe tunaabeera nga tukikoze tujja kubeera nga tuwadde abantu ekirabo ssemalabo. Bwabeera nga tetulina bakulembeze nga waliwo tutalina bakulembeze tukolagane n'abantu abalala abatuufu. Naye abantu abali ku mukono oguliko bannaffe bano bakiyigganya bantu bano abaagala okweyemeza ku buyinza bafiire kuli abatutulugunya abo temubawa buwagizi bwammwe era temubawa bululu bwammwe, temubakkiriza kubeera abakulembeze. Abantu beegaane sisitimu eyo ey'abakulembeze abalina ebigendererwa ebyokutulugunya abantu bannannyini nsi, abalina ebigendererwa ebyokutunda ettaka abantu kwe batudde. Twabagunduye tubamanyi, bali mu PLU bali mu NRM. Abantu abo mubeegaane. Tubaagaliza birungi byereera abantu ba Katonda kama Katonda bankulu. Tetuyinza kuteebereza Ssaabasajja Kabaka. Ssaabasajja Kabaka tweyanziza nnyo. Ayi beene ogunde beene okuvaayo n'ogenda eri omukulembeze waffe Erias Lukwago era n'olagira okulabirira amaka ge ng'ali mu busibe kyekikolwa ekyekisa ekyeyolekedde mu bubaka obwo. Era obulaga Ssaabasajja Kabaka nti oli wamu n'abasajja bo n'abazaana bo. Tetuyinza kwebaza kimala abakulembeze ab'ennono abalala ne bannaddiini naddala Bishop Bukomeko eyavaayo bukukuubira n'avumirira ebigenda mu maaso oba ttibwattibwe. Tetuyinza beebaza kimala naye nga twagala okukoowoola buli omu woofunira akakisa, kozesa akakisa ako okusobola okutaasa Uganda nnyaffe kubanga lye lino eggwanga mwe twazaalirwa lye lyaffe, tetulina gye tulaga era tujja kubeera basanyufu okulifiiramu kabuna tulabeera nga tunaaweebwa omukisa okuziikibwa mu kitiibwa abantu baffe ku malaalo g'abajjajjaffe. Mukama abeere nammwe.